Hey friends, Tony here with Untethered Livin. Yeah, that's right. I've got a title for the YouTube channel. If you've been following me throughout this entire process, I really didn't have it together. I think my first video I said Untethered Living, but I decided to make the name Untethered Livin. You Google Livin, L-I-V-I-N. The Urban Dictionary defines it as it's a way of life or a state of mind. It's a refusal to fail and live like the ordinary. It's destroying standards that people have set for you, and on it goes. You know, that describes the gist of my life. I'm living. And I'm sure excited for today because I do the reveal and tour. Today's that day, folks. If you haven't been with me throughout the process, welcome to the channel and enjoy the ride. So without further ado, here we go. All right, come on in. So we can start actually with the cockpit here. This is just your standard Ford Transit Connect. It's an XL. I didn't realize it was an XL until the next day after purchasing it. I was driving the freeway and I was looking for cruise control, and there was no cruise control. And I discovered that, hey, this is the base model. No problem. I did find a kit online that I can install and have cruise control. That's the only thing that I really need in here. In terms of the stereo, very basic, not a problem for me, because what I'm gonna do eventually is probably do an iPad and just do like Bluetooth with like a Bluetooth speaker. And that's all I need, basically. I'm not concerned about the stereo too much. Actually, it's got pretty good sound for a base model vehicle, so that'll suffice as well too. So moving right along into lighting. So the nice thing about it, and let me actually fix that. So I'm using for power, and I'll explain that later. I'm using for power the Jackery Explorer 500. So for lighting, I've got two switches here. And the nice thing about these switches, this first one is for the ceiling lights. I use some recessed LEDs, and then this has a dimmable feature to it as well. So when you want to dim the lights, you just basically touch and hold, and that will dim the lights. And it will also, I just lotioned my hand, so it's probably not, there we go. So it'll dim the lights, and then you just do it again, and you can actually bring the lights up as well too. The second light is for my task lighting over the sink, which I use when I'm actually working in the kitchen here to have a little focus light on the sink. And then we'll move on to the switches. So I've got these switches here. I've got my switch for my fan. I've got my switch for which one is this? This is my, this is actually for the power socket, which I have underneath my light over there. I have a USB port underneath that light there, so I can charge that light, and say for instance if I'm sleeping, I can actually charge my phone on that over in that corner there too as well. So that's where that is located over there. And then this one here, the third one, is for my heater. So I've got a Chinese diesel heater in here. I've already tested it, and after about 15 minutes of running it, I had to actually shut the thing down because this little confined space for a diesel heater like that, it gets pretty hot. So I had to actually shut it down and restart it when it started to get cool in here. I'm still working with that diesel heater to program it so where it can shut off and turn it on at certain times, and also where I can set it at its lowest temperature. Right now, I just have it cranked to its highest temperature, and that's what's causing the problems of overheating and, you know, having me to shut down to cool the van down. And then my last switch here is for my refrigerator. It's wired, but it's not set in yet. I'm thinking eventually I may do a Dometic. I think it's a 20 or a 30. It's basically a pull-out refrigerator that would more than likely go in this section here and just pull out. And it's a very small refrigerator, but for, you know, tiny living like this, you don't need much in terms of refrigeration. So yeah, those are my switches. We'll move on. Since I've talked about eventually putting a fridge here, what I'm doing now is I just bought some totes from the Container Store. I was going to do drawers in here, and things just got a little tight in terms of course, winter coming. It's getting a little colder, and me just wanting to get the build done. And I've got a couple of trips coming up here in the next few weeks, so I just need it to be done. So this will suffice for now. Maybe next spring I'll build some drawers and put those in as well. And maybe next spring I may decide even to not put a drawer here and just have the refrigerator in there. So let's move on to the back, actually, because I'm going to actually, before we move on to the back, just kind of demo my curtains. Actually, I ended up buying this little bar here from IKEA, and the package came with a ceiling mount, which I was going to try and use, but it was a little flimsy. So I ended up just drilling holes through the mount here and drilling directly into the ceiling. These little clips came with the kit as well too, and I actually installed those. I actually built this curtain. This is a curtain from Target. It's a blackout curtain from Target, and it's actually meant to be mounted the other way, but I thought instead of buying two separate curtains, what I did was I flipped it on the side and I installed these little grommets, which I got from Joann Fabric, and it gives me the ability to, basically it's the perfect size. I cut off about maybe 4 inches on this side, and when I actually take it off and connect it to the last little hook here, it's perfect. I mean, I thought I was gonna have to do some more sewing, but I really don't have to. If I get to my spot, I just kind of tuck things in, and it serves this purpose of giving me some privacy when I'm out, maybe doing some stealth camping in the city. So we'll make our way to the back here, and I'll explain that. So this is the back. This is obviously my bed. When I initially put the bed together, I cut it up, and what I did was I went to Walmart and I bought basically a mattress cover, a zippable mattress protector, and then like a black sheet. Had that on initially, and I thought, this looks like crap. And the perfectionist inside of me said, yeah, it would work, but in terms of the look, it was not the look I was going for. Now, I found a guy online who put this together for a very reasonable price. He even gave me some recommendations in terms of where to find some fabric. There's a warehouse in a neighboring suburb here that I walked in there. I was so overwhelmed. They have so much in terms of fabric. I actually ended up finding a perfect match for what I was looking for at an incredible price. So this guy was a great resource. And I still may use my solution in terms of a mattress protector and the sheet just for when I'm doing my heavy camping and I want to keep this looking nice. I'll use that for that. But for most part, I just love the look and the quality of the workmanship that he did for such a great price. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and demo how this is actually going to work. Let me go around to the side here. So, very simple, very easy in terms of how you get this bed to work. I actually bought some, these are actually straps to fasten things together and secure them, which I've used for my water supply, both the fresh water supply and my gray water. So I just cut them down and I screwed them into here to give me something to grip onto and pull. So once I get to my spot and I want to sleep, I just pull this out, move my mattresses to where they need to be, and voila, there you have it. So very comfortable. It is a little bit more firmer than my current bed, but it's still relatively nice. It's a memory foam mattress, and the guy who upholstered this gave me a little extra batting to give it that look of, say, a finished couch or something like that too. So more than what I need in terms of comfort here. So yeah, that's how the bed works. Now, if I can just get it back together. There we go. So if you notice, got a nice little light here. Great little reading light, which again is next to this little port here, so I can do some charging. This is a USB chargeable light. I've used it pretty much for like 3 days off and on, and I haven't had to charge it yet, which is nice. The nice thing about it, it's got dimmable, and it's even got different light temperatures, like a almost like a fluorescent, and then you've got like a nice warm light temperature as well too, which I like a lot. So there's some options with this. Very cheap. I can't remember the price. I got it off of Amazon. I was initially thinking I was going to wire something in, but this is the perfect solution. I can actually move this around, clip it off, take it and move it where I need to move it as well too. But that's the perfect spot for it if I'm reading in bed. We'll move on to the cabinets. I don't have this hooked up right now, but I decided to go with a pump system for my water. I initially ordered an electric pump, and I'm glad I changed my mind. As you know, this is a kind of a micro camper, and I don't have much in terms of storage for water. And I thought in addition to the limitations I have in terms of electricity in here, having an electric pump would certainly draw more electricity. And it also will, in my mind, cause me to maybe use too much water. So with this, great solution, because I'm not relying on a power source for this, and I can control the amount of water that I use. So as I'm pumping, I'm very conscious of how much water I'm using, as opposed to flipping a switch, turning it on, and having it just flow freely. So that's what I'm happy about here. And upper cabinetry, got my little flashlight in here. Upper cabinetry is nice. I've actually tested it out when I went on my camping trip. I was able to get the food I needed up here, the dry goods I had up here, which worked out very well. Now, in terms of safety features I have in here, on this side, I have a CO2 detector. Very safe to have that if you're living in a confined space, maybe running heat, things like that. It's great to have that for safety for your life. And then I've also got a smoke detector here too. Should I have a fire in here when I'm sleeping, that's going to alert me and let me know what's going on. And then I have, for additional protection, a nice fire extinguisher. My mom picked this out for me and gave this to me, and it worked out perfectly. Perfect color in terms of matching my color scheme, the white and the black. It just worked out perfectly. So thank you, Mom. And what we can do is move right onto the garage. Now, I don't have much of a garage. I have more of an attic in terms of my racks, my storage in my rocket box on the top there. But this is pretty much my garage here. This is the controller for the Chinese diesel heater. So basically, I just set up a detachable unit here. And nice thing about it, here's my Bluetooth speaker, which when I'm camping or what have you, I just set it on top of the counter here, and I use it that way. And then this is the Chinese diesel heater that I purchased. Less than 150 bucks on Amazon. It's beautiful. Now, there are nicer heaters out there, like your S-Bar, and I can't think of the other name of the other one, but those heaters are, you're running close to $1,000 for those heaters there. This is, like I say, it's under 150 bucks. It serves the purpose well. So yeah, so I built this where I have a little extra space in here if I need to store other things. This is my tripod for my camera. May put some shoes in there, what have you. So I got a little extra space to store in here. In addition, putting things around the diesel heater there. So that's a nice feature there. There we go. So in my cabinets here, this first cabinet, I've got my power and fuel supplies. So I've got the Explorer Jackery 500, and I've got my heating supply for my diesel heater, which currently I'm running kind of a 50-50 mixture of both diesel and kerosene. I've heard that running kerosene helps this, as long as you don't run full kerosene for too long. The problem with that, running full kerosene for too long, there's no viscosity or lubrication in the kerosene fuel, so you can actually burn out your pump if you run it too long. So what was recommended is maybe a 50-50 mixture of diesel, which has the properties that the fuel pump needs to keep it lubricated, and the kerosene, which actually helps to kind of burn out the gunk within the system. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. And then in terms of the power supply, this is perfect. It's got a 500 watt pure sine wave inverter. So I can run pretty much everything I need. When I was up north camping, I didn't realize it. I pulled my laptop out and it was pretty much almost on a dead battery. Basically just use my little power supply here, which comes right out of the cabinet, which I like. Plugged it in, and within a matter of maybe 30 to 40 minutes, my battery was already at 100% on my laptop, and I was able to do what I needed to do at that night. So I love this here. Nice thing about it too, on top of this, there's a charger, wireless charger. So I can just set my phone on here and charge my phone on top of this as well. It's also got USB ports in here to charge as well too, if you need to. I'm very happy with that solution there. My next cabinet is actually my water. So I've got 2 aqua bricks, 3 gallons each. And it's basically set up, the way I have it now, I have it set up so if I run out of one bottle, I just pull out my quick connector and attach to the next. I did buy a splitter so I can actually work off 2 bottles, but I haven't installed that yet. Another thing too is I like this here. This is a place for my all of my toiletries, maybe my toothbrush, things like that, where I can store in here. Couldn't put a full drawer, as you know, because I've got a sink there. So that worked out perfectly. So in terms of the fan I decided to go with, I went with the Max Air fan. And I went with their base model, which does not have the remote control with it. For me at the time, I was thinking, hey, what do I need a remote control for? I mean, I'm laying here, I just reach up and basically turn the fan on and off when I need to. Then I started thinking, with the remote control, there are so many features in there that you can do where you just hit one button and you've got the functionality you need. But I put this in now, I'm happy with it. So I'm gonna stick with it. But the reason I went with the Max Air as opposed to another type of fan is because of the patented rain guard system. I know there's another fan out there, if you use it and it starts to rain, it will automatically shed on you. Now in my mind, if I'm somewhere camping out in the heat of the summer and maybe it's humid out and I want to have some airflow in here, if the thing shuts and I'm stuck in here in the rain, it's not gonna be very comfortable. So the Max Air fan was definitely hands down the choice that I went with, and I'm very happy with it. I've already tested it out when I was out in the field doing some field testing, and it worked perfectly to pull air through and keep some circulation of fresh air in the system itself. So very happy with that. In terms of my backing here, I went with a kind of a peel and stick tile got that from Home Depot, and very happy with it. It was kind of like a last minute decision. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. I knew I maybe wanted like a tile or I was gonna paint it, but like 2 days before I finished the entire build, I went to Home Depot and I just kind of looked around and I actually ended up finding this. And what I did was I used a combination of, it's already got an adhesive backing on it. You just pull off the paper and you can stick it there. But what I did for some additional adhesion, I used the 3M90 spray, same spray I used to put my insulation in the vehicle as well too. So I used that, and not the best job I had done on this, but I think it's pretty good and very reasonable price too as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe we come around to the side here. This here is a Renogy 100 watt solar panel. I've used it, I actually have it connected now. Now, as you know, the sun is going down, so I don't really have any charge here because there's no sun directly overhead. But I'm very happy with the days that I had sun overhead. It seems to charge up the Jackery with no problem at all. This is not actually meant for the Jackery. Jackery actually sells their own solar panels. They're little portable solar panels that, if you're out in the field, you actually break them out and connect them to your Jackery and get power that way. But I wanted a solution that was kind of permanent in terms of just having the flexibility of being wherever. If I'm if I'm in the city and I'm doing some stealth camping and maybe I'm working out of this van, I've got power coming in continually to power my devices that I'm working on at that time. So very happy with this. Those of you who followed my process terms when I installed this, it was a bit of a headache to get this installed on, but I got it connected. This thing is not moving. I used some T-bolts that I ordered from Home Depot, and those worked out perfectly. The only problem was there's hardly any clearance here, so I had to buy a nice little wrench to get in there and tighten it down as much as possible. But once I got it tightened down, I mean, this thing is solid, not going anywhere. Put some lock washers in there, make sure that it doesn't come loose as well. So overall, very happy with the build so far. And that over there you see is my Yakima Rocket Box Pro 12. So it's like 12 cubic, I think it's 12 cubic feet of storage. There's enough storage in there. I've got right now, I've got a bag in there, and I've got my stabilization blocks in there as well too. And I've got a ton more space to store things in there. So more to come on that. And you'll see as I go on my adventures, what I'll be storing in there. Speaking of adventures, my next trip coming up in the next week or so here is with my dad. I don't know if I've shared this before. My dad has Parkinson's, and it's a degenerative disease, and things are kind of progressing. And I've been wanting to take a trip with my dad, a road trip with my dad for many years. We've talked about it, and now's the time. I don't feel like I'm quite ready to make the trip, but I need to make the trip. So we're going to take this thing. We're not going to sleep in this thing because it's just, just one bed here. But we're going to take it and drive it across country and see some sights and stay in a hotel. Nice thing about it, if my dad wants to get some extra sleep, I can come out of the hotel, be in here and do some work, things like that. But more to come on that. I'll definitely film as much of that process as well too. That's basically the next step. Now that the build is done, the next step is adventure. Going on different trips and seeing the States. I mean, I can't see the world right now. Eventually, I'd love to see the world, but because of COVID, lockdown, can't really travel to other countries at this time. But right now, I'm going to explore as much of the United States as I possibly can. So that's what you'll see in store for this channel coming up here. Thank you for coming along, folks. If you haven't done so yet, please feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Have a great day, folks. Take care. Oh, I almost forgot to cover the last section of my cabinetry. More importantly, the place where I go to the bathroom. People are always asking, how do you go to the bathroom? Well, that's it right there, folks. That little gray receptacle with a black garbage bag, that is my trash / pooper. And to the right of that is my gray tank. That's for water runoff for washing dishes or brushing teeth, things like that. Again, thanks a lot, folks. See you in season 2.